Question in from Tracy, who's asked, any good tips to grow followers? So Tracy says she tends to get a lot on the back of running LinkedIn audio events, but any other good tips for growing them quicker? Anything?
Well, yeah. I think that the best way of doing it, if you're going to create your own content, is to create as much conversational content as you can, because that's going to generate the most comments, and comments have got the greatest kind of algorithmic visibility potential of any engagement metric. But I actually would start earlier than that by going out and commenting on other people's posts, because especially if you can find someone who is talking about a topic you know about and who already has a large engaged following, if you can go and comment on those posts with authority and with regularity, that will expose you to a higher proportion of people in your second and third line networks who will never have heard of you, and those people will be most apt to follow you. So there's a certain value to talking to the people that you already know, but if you're interested in growing an audience, you've got to go and find people who are in that second and third tier who've never heard of you before, and the stepping stone for doing that is by commenting on other people's posts where you're talking about something relevant. And if you match that with a really well optimized opening part of your headline, that can be the difference maker between people going, oh, that was nice, versus, what does that person do? That's interesting. And then they might click through, and hopefully your profile is where you can really sell yourself and get people to click that follow button. So I'd start there. Everything else is really about building relationships with your existing network. So DMs are great, posting on your own feed is great. That just strengthens your existing relationships. It's not going to really help you make new ones. I sometimes advise people to go and do things like searches on hashtags and job titles and locations, and try and find out who's out there so that you can make a strategic outreach to those people. And obviously, once you connect with those people, it's a mutual follow relationship. You follow them, they follow you. Or you might just go and start commenting on their stuff so that over time they then want to reciprocate, or they then want to follow you back and find out more about you. There's no quick fix here. I'm never going to tell you to go out and buy followers or anything like that. Building these relationships, getting this visibility is a long, slow process. And I found the first 9 months of 2017, which is when I was diving into LinkedIn properly, my feed was like a ghost town. People weren't responding to anything I was doing, even though I thought I was doing some valuable stuff. But it's because I didn't have any social capital. I didn't have any kudos. No one knew who I was. So it takes a while. In my book, I talk about a 30-month mindset before you can really be known in a niche. So once the followers start building, they can often build faster and faster and faster. But getting that ball rolling is really hard. But all the people who've succeeded haven't given up. So don't give up after 3 months or 6 months if it's not happening. You got to keep pushing at it.
Yes. Great suggestions. I would add using the content search box on LinkedIn now is another great way. And I actually like to bookmark searches. So I've got, a couple of searches that bring up the stuff that is most useful for me to be contributing to. Yeah. And if I'm going to spend a bit of extra time on LinkedIn in a day, I'll just go straight to those bookmarked results. And then what I'm spending my time on is, closely related to what we do and who we help. And the other thing you definitely sort of pointed to it there, John, is just being proactive about, connecting yourself as well. I think a lot of people are nervous about doing that because you receive a lot of spammy inbound connection requests. And so you obviously don't want to come across like that to other people. But if you've chosen, really relevant people to connect to, and you send a connection request message that, gives them good reason to want to be connected with you, then actually get very high acceptance rate on that. And you then build a network that's actually, closely aligned with what it is you do and what you tend to talk about on LinkedIn. So it's not just more followers, but followers that are likely to be very engaged as well.
Yeah, on that topic, I was speaking to one of our members yesterday who said, to this date, I have never sent a connection request, and my plan is to now go and send maybe 10 or 20 per day. And I said, well, just be careful with that, because LinkedIn's limits are never published, but it's something like between 100 and 150 invitations that you can send per week before your account gets restricted. So don't go for super rapid growth just because you see loads of other people with loads of followers. I'd rather spend some time following someone's content, send them a personalized note that shows that you've read their profile, send them a note that shows, you know, it's the kind of note that you could never send to anyone else because it wouldn't make sense to that other person. It makes sense to only one person. And you know, slower is better. If you can make 5 good relationships in a day, that's way better than trying to send out 20 invitations and getting a lower acceptance rate. So it's not all about the speed. If you can build the relationships, that's the better thing to do.